My name's Darren Gibbons, and like a tree, I have many roots. It all began when I started school, started hanging around with the wrong set of people, and then I was trying to fit in with them wrong sort of people, and it just wasn't working. So I took action and started to hang around with myself, which led me into doing my own things. Like, I also used to grow up, see my mum struggle, so that got me into selling drugs. And I used to sell drugs, have many women living the wrong sort of life. So there was one time where I got arrested and they took me to the cell and they found drugs. And then I remember coming out of the cell and then coming to church. I said a prayer, I promised God that I will never go back to that. And then I tried to live life properly. Started to go to university, doing an access course, and then things got tough again. So I went back into the drug business and then doing the same things, still wasn't happy, doing the same things. And then I got arrested again. And I was just fed up, had a child on the way, and then I gave my life to God when I came out of jail. And since then, I've been very happy. No more women, I'm engaged now, and I'm attending university in a few weeks, which I couldn't be more happy in my life. And today, God has transformed me, and I'm very happy in my life, and I couldn't ask for anything else.
Hello, a very good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. How far would you go to hide who you truly are? How far would you go to give people an image of someone that you're not, if that would make you feel better about yourself? Welcome to tonight's program. Tonight we're talking about the addiction to the internet, to phones, to technology, and what that has done in today's society to interfere in people's lives. Here's a video that talks more about the subject.
Today, society is benefiting from the invention of mobile phones. Communication has become so easy and cheap. Not only that, but you can make internet calls for free. But technology has exposed us to some negatives. Businesses have devised cookies which collect private data from our smartphones, and they use this data to suggest adverts relating to our interests. The use of technology has ensured an increase of production of products, but this in turn has led to some businesses requiring a smaller human workforce. Technology in the classroom has revolutionized today's education, and also the way teachers and students use their classroom. Technology has made it easier for teachers to impart knowledge to the students and for students to acquire it. The use of technology in schools has also made the process of learning and teaching more enjoyable. However, using technology in the classroom could be a distraction, as students are able to access the internet and even communicate with each other when they should be concentrating on other things. Cheating is also simpler with the use of technology. Technology makes keeping in contact easier, so long-distance relationships can benefit, and we can see what our family is doing on the other side of the world. But staying in contact with people who maybe we shouldn't and accessing illegal or explicit sites is becoming easier and easier. So, it seems that technology can either be good or bad. It just really depends on how you use it.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers. Now, tonight we're talking about the pros and cons of technology. And I've done some research myself, and I wanted to see how much of a distraction technology is. And I found that the average time that somebody will use technology is if they're doing something, for example, they're at work, they're doing a job, they will be distracted every 2 minutes by technology. So tonight we're really talking about the good things and the bad things about technology. And that video there talked about good things such as staying in contact with your family, and the production line in companies is now moving quicker because of technology. But on the other side, we've got maybe people talking to maybe ex-boyfriends, people they shouldn't be talking to. It's so easy online now. And maybe people even losing their jobs because of technology.
In fact, I think we were discussing this a little bit yesterday after the show, and a third of divorces now cite Facebook as one of the reasons why people are getting divorced, and that's quite high. Now, as Victoria said, technology has done a wonderful thing. You can now speak to people for free, virtually, across the globe if they have an internet connection. Now, the problem with this also, with technology, is of course the rift that it causes in relationships, in families, because your computer, your phone is like a window into another world. You can live in the most shabby place. I hope you're not going to be offended, but you know, let's just to give an example. You can live in a place you hate, but you go onto your computer and it's a window into another world, and people spend hours there. And of course, the other problem is that there are people who create these fake lives, completely fake. You know, I've come to know of people that said, look, I found out my husband was living a double life online. He was living the life of a single man with a different job, a completely different job to what he does. You know, he has a very basic job, and there online he was saying that he was this very successful businessman, and he was cheating on me. Some people might say, well, if he was cheating virtually, but he never met the person, then he wasn't really cheating. But cheating is cheating. I'm sure you'll agree with me. The person who's on the receiving end of that feels as betrayed as someone who was literally cheated on. And the danger of someone living that double life is that they start living in a fantasy. But of course, there is the hurt and the pain it causes to the people that are with them. I don't know if you got to look into statistics of teenagers, young people who don't even go out of their rooms to be with their families, to eat with their families. They do everything in front of the computer. They go and get the plate of food from the kitchen and go and eat in front of the computer. I saw, I mean, this is an irony, but at the same time a terrible irony. In, I think, South Korea, a couple of years ago, there was this couple that allowed their newborn baby to die because they were playing for over 24 hours a virtual game of looking after a baby. So they were looking after a virtual baby, a game online for over 24 hours, and they let their real life baby die. So this can be very, very negative to families indeed.
That's unbelievable. I didn't know that. That's insane. I do know that not many families these days eat dinner around a table, and even if they do, even the parents or the teenagers will have either phones or laptops with them. It's difficult to know what to say, really, because people don't have a lot of time these days. They are working very hard, so you know, they might then want to catch up with work that they're doing, and then that might make them feel better. But you know, family values and sitting around and having discussions face to face rather than just constantly using technology, it can be quite damaging, absolutely, to the families.
Now, I have someone sitting here next to me today, actually tonight, and she lived a fake life because of all the issues she had. She started to create this fake persona online, someone that she wasn't, that she's not, and she tried to do that just to see if she could feel better about herself, if she could get more confidence. And you will hear her amazing story in a few moments, but I just want to introduce you to her. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine.
You good? What your name is?
Glory.
Glory.
Yes.
Glory, is it true that you created this fake life online, or I mean, what was the story behind that?
Well, I created this fake life online, and it all started in secondary school. But when I was in primary school, things were fine, things were okay. I grew up with a family that would provide for me. Things were all right. I went to a good school. Like even my grades were like great. So that you would never think that I would turn out like this. Mm-hmm. But when I reached secondary school, it's like having the best grades or being this person that's successful wasn't cool. So mm-hmm. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like other people, and this led through me using the internet. This led mm-hmm. through me, you know, like creating.
Was it like we said earlier? Was that like a window into another world for you?
Yeah, I believe that it was, because it allowed me to create something that I wasn't. And for me, because I was trapped in that, it made me feel like I was that person.
Okay, we're going to go into a break. When we come back, you're going to start telling us your story. You gave us a brief introduction now, but we want to find out why you felt the need to become this other person. There must have been a root to that. So we're going to go into a short break and we'll be right back. But if you are right now on the receiving end of a betrayal, if you cannot trust the person who's with you, if the person who's with you constantly has to delete his history from his computer to try to hide something from you, and you feel that something's not right, and surely, if that's the case, something's not right. If you feel like your children are slipping through your fingers, like they're not the children they used to be, because the internet, the computer has given them access to something, you know, that they never had access before, and that has changed them. If you feel like technology somehow has had a negative effect in your life, in your family, or if you're going through any problem right now, no matter what it is, I want you to get in touch with our team right now, who are ready, waiting and ready to speak to you. We have 2 pastors who are now ready to speak to you should you choose to call and speak to them. The telephone number is 020-7686-6300. That's 020-7686-6300, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. When we come back, we'll tell you how you can get in contact with us through Facebook and through Twitter. We'll be right back. The truth is that we will not know how bad the negative effects of technology are until a few years later, because this is a fairly recent thing. I mean, the internet really only took off, I think, around 96, 98, am I right, yeah. Victoria? Around that time. It's like, you know, people are a lot more obese now. There's a big problem with obesity now because people are sitting behind the desks a lot more than before. Jobs used to be a lot more manual before. So now we are reaping the fruits, the negative fruits of what started perhaps in the 50s, where desk jobs became so popular and the norm. And the same thing will happen with the internet. We'll see that affecting families for years to come unless the person chooses and makes an informed decision to put a handbrake on it. And we have to be careful because sometimes it starts to creep in without you even noticing. If you're not careful, right, you are with your family and you're checking your phone, you're checking what's new, and you know, actually the Bible says something very amazing. The Bible says that our eyes, they are never tired of seeing. Perhaps you say, James, that sounds ridiculous, but think about it. Your eyes are never tired of seeing. You can see the same thing over and over again, but you want to see more. And that's what technology has done. It has opened this window for you to see whatever you want to see and to be whoever you want to be. What else did you find out about the pros and cons of technology, Victoria?
Well, mainly what was said in the video, really. I mean, my point of view, when I think about technology, all the advances, for example, because I studied criminal psychology quite a bit, and I remember always reading the case study about the Yorkshire Ripper and how they just could not find the culprit because they kept going over and over old bits of information. They had piles and piles of paperwork. And that's really when they started to think about computers and cataloguing things. I mean, imagine what we can now find out about things like terrorism, about criminals, just because we've got technology. So for me, when I think about technology, I think of all the wonderful positive things that it brings.
But there's also some negative things.
Of course there are.
But I agree with you. I personally, I love technology, but I think everyone, especially those who already have built a family, you have children, you have a home, it's very, very important that you can restrict technology to a certain extent. You need to have times for it, and I think if we don't put these rules there, it can be a big problem. Do you agree?
Absolutely, yeah, I do agree. And they've also found that children find it difficult to sleep if they look at any kind of screen immediately before they go to bed. So saying things like, okay, you can have screen time at this time, you can watch this amount of TV, you can go on the internet maybe for a couple of hours, and then maybe you need to read a book, because it's scientifically proven that if you look at screen before you go to sleep, then you can't sleep. So there's loads of cons, but there's also quite a few pros.
So we have already met our real life story of tonight. She's sitting here with us. Let's find out now about her whole life story.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Glory, so you were telling us how you did well at school for a while, but then you found out about the internet and technology. And how did that take over your life? I mean, why did you feel a need to go into this window that was there waiting for you?
I felt a need to go into that direction because that's the direction that everybody was going into. So if I didn't go in that direction, then I would be left behind. So I wanted to always be one step ahead. I wanted to always be like with the crowd. So that's why I would force myself to make profiles that everybody else had made. I'd force myself to take pictures like what other people were taking, just for attention and things like that.
Mm-hmm. You were telling me before that you struggled with low self-esteem.
Yes.
I mean, was that a way for you to try to get your esteem up? Would it be like a way of boosting your self-esteem?
Yes, it would, because around me, majority of my friends, I looked around me and I saw, okay, I'm not I don't look like my friends. I don't look like certain people that all the other boys were after. So I thought, okay, let me use social media to my advantage. Let me use it as a way of getting that attention that I wouldn't get. And that sort of brought me down, looking around and seeing that I didn't look like everybody else, so I didn't look like what people would like at around those times. So it made me feel insecure. It made me feel like, why was I born in my own skin? I didn't like being in my own skin. So inside, I just felt like even if I was around people, I'd feel alone. And that was one of the biggest things as well, because I would have all these profiles. You'd think that I would be the most happiest person, having all these friends on Facebook, having all these people like my pictures, but...
So when you would post a picture and let's say 100 people would like your picture, would that make you feel better?
It would make me feel good for a short while, but then after it's like you want more, you crave more and more, because the picture gets old, and then it comes a time where you need to take a new one to get more likes, to feed that insecurity, to feed that desire.
How much time would you spend on the internet trying to get that next fix of people liking what you look like and so on?
I would spend the majority of my day on the internet. I would.
What about school?
Even in school, it got to a point where it was so bad, because I had a phone these times, and my phone had internet. So in class, I'll be texting. In class, I'll be on my phone, on Facebook. I'll be looking at other people's profiles, seeing how like they would do things, so that I could be able to copy it as well. I never used to listen in class, because I would always be on my phone, always be on my phone.
When you were at home, were you sociable with your family? Were you together with them, or would you be away from them, you know, getting that fix of wanting people to like you and liking your picture and so on?
When I was at home, it was even worse, because my parents were the type of parents that they would want to know what was going on. They would want to know what I was doing on my phone. So I wouldn't like to be on my phone around them. So when I was around them, I would try to stay away from my phone, but I couldn't for too long. So that's why I would always seclude myself in my room, keep myself like to myself. So when everyone was downstairs, I'd be upstairs. If everyone was upstairs, I'd be downstairs on my phone, talking to people. Like, I had this virtual world, but I wasn't paying attention to my family. So things got really, really bad at home.
Now, I'm aware that you initially were posting these pictures, wanting people to like you and so on, but then, I mean, did you go a step further in wanting people to like you more? Did you start to post more racy pictures? I mean, what happened?
Like, I would say that my whole social media life was just a lie, even down to things that I would be feeling. I wouldn't write how I felt, because inside I'd feel insecure, inside I'd feel lonely, but I'd make it seem as though I was the most happiest person. Through the pictures I'll take really revealing pictures. Like, they were very indecent, but I thought that this is what other people would like, so I would take it so that they would like it. It wasn't for me.
Okay, you see, I'm just thinking about what you're saying here. You see how you had this problem with the way you felt about yourself, but putting these pictures out there surely would make things worse, because I mean, these pictures are in the public domain. Anyone had access to them and could get them and spread them anywhere. Didn't that cross your mind? What if, you know, my privacy becomes available for everyone? I mean, did that go through your mind?
Around those times, I didn't have that kind of mentality. I didn't care who saw my pictures. I wanted the more people that saw my pictures, the better.
Really?
Yeah. So that's
so if you sorry to continue on you. If you took a really indecent picture, right, and you put it online, so you were happy. The more people watched or saw that photograph, the happier you were. Yeah,
because it would mean that, especially if they were talking about it, it would mean that I was getting the attention that I wanted. So if people weren't talking about it, if people weren't liking it, if people weren't commenting on my pictures, then for me, I would feel like, okay, I would go back to square one, feeling ugly, feeling insecure again, because I tried to be this other person. Nobody likes who I am for me, but then nobody likes who I am for the social media me either.
So basically what you did is you would go as far as you had to go to make people like you.
Yes, basically, that's what I would do.
And did it ever come a point where your family found out about these pictures? And
my family didn't really find out about the pictures, but they did like my parents could see my attitude was changing, because even though I was trying to pretend to be this person online, it became me. So I started to become this person. I started to even go outside dressing indecently. I started to act very loud. I wouldn't want to be around my parents because I felt as though they were restricting me from being who I really wanted to be. So things at home were really bad because it started to really influence me, my own personality. So it just became a reality.
So when those pictures would go out there and you would get a lot of comments, a lot of likes, you'd be happy?
Yes.
Did it ever solve your problem of insecurities?
No, it didn't, because even though people liked it, it's like somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, no, they're only liking it because I'm showing this much flesh, or I'm being this indecent, not because of who I am really. They're only seeing what I post. They're not really seeing who I am inside.
But then your solution for that would go back and show more flesh.
Yes,
right?
because it was like a fix, you would say. So it's like the more I would post, the more happier I'd feel. So the more accepted I would feel, and then after that, it would wear down again. So.
Did you do this because someone forced you to do this, or you chose to do this by yourself?
I chose to do this by myself. In the beginning, it started off with me just wanting to get attention, but then after a while, it's like I was already drawn into this world, like this social media world. So it was like I couldn't go back. I was already in it, so I had to just keep on going. So that's the way it was.
Okay. You know, there's two very important things here from what you said. You have to be really careful with what your loved ones, your family, your children especially, are exposed to through the internet. And it's really difficult because, I mean, the moment they have a phone, you no longer have too much control over them. You can put parental, I don't know what you call it these days. What do you call it, Victoria? Parental restrictions on the phone. I don't know what you call it. But even then, I mean, it's really difficult. And that's why prayer is so important, because, you know, you have to ask God to protect your family, because this stuff is everywhere. And the second thing is that if you are someone right now, like Glory used to be, that you need to get people's approval to feel better about yourself. You need to show your flesh, to show, you know, to put an indecent pose, an indecent video of yourself to make you feel better, then something's definitely wrong. You need to deal with the issue of this problem. And maybe you're watching me now and you have this problem, that you cannot control the things you do for approval of other people. And that shows there's a root to that. There was a root to you feeling that way, right? Which you've dealt with, and you're going to tell us after the break. So, but if you're going through that, get in contact with us, because I believe just like Glory overcame this problem, you can overcome it as well. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ryan. I'm a Christian, and this is my story. Growing up, I never missed going to church. And when I was 12, I accepted Christ as my Savior. I was even baptized. It undoubtedly was a very important decision. It even affected how I lived in high school. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had fun on the weekends. I had a girlfriend, a couple, but I was a normal high school kid. College was one big blur, but I did make it to church out of obedience. And after school, I married a great girl, and she's been a great influence on me. life's been good. I have a house, 3 kids. I couldn't ask for more. I mean, sure, I worry about my future. I mean, my marriage, it could be better. And I need to spend more time with my kids, but things will be all right. I have my faith. You may not hear me talk about it a lot, but it's just because it's personal. But don't worry for me. My Jesus is real.
Hello, students. Are you ready to learn about love? Yes? So let's learn to love intelligently. I've never seen poor people say, I hate money. You know what? Money is just a piece of paper.
In the lobster today, I learned so many things today.
It was quite insightful, really helpful, straight to the point.
Someday you feel in love with this person, some days you want to strangle that person. Easier said than done because you're not practicing love with your brain. Why buy the cow if you can get milk for free? She's the only woman for you in the world, and she's going to be always a happy woman, treat you well, and there will be lots of milk as well.
I have a good time, yeah, very nice. I feel happy.
It was brilliant, it was like I've learned a lot about love.
We love Love School!
If you weren't here, get the DVD, get the book, invest in your love life. Oh, you want to eat? You want food? Okay. Take us to a restaurant.
Learned a lot. Actually can't wait for the DVD to come out because there's so many points that I wasn't able to like note down. But when the DVD comes out, I'm gonna get the DVD and watch it over and over again.
Definitely depression is probably #1.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want. It just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Victoria Edgecombe, and tonight on Finding Answers, we're talking about the pros and the cons of technology. So today I'm out and about asking the general public, what do you think are the pros and what are the cons of modern day technology? So what are the pros and cons of technology?
Technology, and special of Facebook and social media, it's a negative aspect. I think it's we waste our time, so much time on it, but the pros, I think we stay in contact with each other and also stay in contact with when friends are not so when friends are far away.
A certain brand that we shall not name has changed my life. I'm now able to be accessed wherever I am. I'm able to do work, travelling, which is quite an important benefit to what I do as a self-employed musician.
I think linked to communication, I think a great thing is that people can stay in touch that are thousands of miles away and keep in touch with friends. But then again, when people meet up, they can be distracted and always looking on their phones. So I think if it's used responsibly, I think technology can be a great thing.
Here's why people have to make things up to put on Facebook and the internet. Because sometimes our life is not that interesting, right? What you had for breakfast wasn't that interesting. But then again, if you take a picture of your cereal bowl and you put a few filters and then you put it on Facebook, people are going to like it. Or if you put a picture of the cereal bowl and you write something interesting, life is like a bowl of cereals because then people are going to like it. The truth behind people having to put everything out there is because our lives, our day-to-day lives, our everyday life is not that interesting. What you had for lunch is really not that interesting, but yet people want to put it there. But even that is harmless. The problem is when people want to make their life a lot more interesting online, create this fake persona, and then it starts to create problems. Do you agree that our lives most times are not that interesting? We may have some amazing events sometimes, but your day-to-day life probably wouldn't make the news, our day-to-day life. Do you agree with that?
Well, I'd agree that it wouldn't make the news, but I do enjoy a video of a few cats being sweet, I'll admit.
Okay, I don't watch it because I have a cat at home, right? And he just sleeps and eats the whole day, so it's the odd time he does something cute. Again, the problem is when people allow that to take over their lives, like we heard Glory saying earlier, how she felt the need to do that to feel better about herself. And the truth is that she never really dealt with the root of that problem as long as she was doing that. So although you tried to make yourself feel better by doing those things, you still had that issue there. What did you do to deal with the problem? What did you do differently to deal with that problem?
In the beginning, I didn't really see it as a problem, but then after a while, I felt like I needed to escape. I couldn't carry on like that anymore because I wasn't being fulfilled. I wasn't filling the void that I had, so I just needed an escape. And I knew that there was an answer, but in the beginning I was quite scared because my parents were attending church. They were going to church, and they have been my whole life. So I grew up in the church, but this whole time I was still using the social media as a way to escape.
So the truth is that you grew up in the church.
Yes.
You weren't the typical person who found the church when they were at a bad point.
Yeah.
You were in there, but you were lost even inside the church.
Yes.
Right?
Due to curiosity, because I was a very curious person, and around those times my school friends, people around me, like outside, was more influential to me than church was, because I thought, okay, I knew everything, I knew it all, so I didn't take it seriously.
Didn't you have those moments, for example, when you would post those indecent pictures of yourself? Didn't you have those moments where you would say, what am I doing? Why did I just do this? Should I delete it? Didn't you have moments like that?
I would have moments like that, but at the time I was so blinded by comments and wanting to feel accepted that I just didn't care. It got to a point where I was just so blinded that I didn't find it relevant.
So what did you do to change? I mean, when was the point that you thought something's got to change here? I'm never going to be the person I want to be or feel the way I want to feel about myself by doing this. When did that point come up?
My mum invited me to a special event at the church, and I remember attending, and the women that were speaking were like speaking about how happy they were, and they were also speaking about how they used to be and how they are now. And I was just thinking, okay, I want to be like this. Why can't I be like this? And I realized that the answer for me to be fulfilled was in front of me all along, but I just needed to take the opportunity. I needed to take the action. So what I started to do was attend more. So I started to get advice, and I also joined the youth group within the church. And it really, really helped me because of the advice I would get, the one-to-one help I would get. It really allowed me to see the root behind my problem, that I had a problem in the first place.
How important was that one-to-one, you opening up to the person who was there to talk to you?
The one-to-one was really important because before that, I felt like I needed to tell the world what was going on with me. Before that, I felt like I needed to put on a mask. Whereas having a one-to-one, I was able to speak about what was really happening within me. I was able to speak about how I truly felt, what was going on. And for me, that was a breakthrough, because then from then, through what I said, I was able to get advice to help me.
And the interesting thing is that before that, you were exposing things of yourself that you shouldn't to the whole world, but you weren't exposing what really mattered, which was your insecurities and that you needed to get rid of that. How long have you been free from those insecurities and from that addiction to be exposing, you know, indecent pictures of yourself on the internet and all these things?
I've been free from that for about 4 years now.
4 years?
Yes.
So 4 years you don't feel the need to do that anymore?
No.
And how do you feel about yourself?
Now I feel confident within myself. I don't feel the need to post indecent pictures. I don't post indecent pictures because there's no need for me to do that anymore. I don't use likes as my way of feeling accepted, because inside I'm fulfilled, inside I'm happy.
How is your relationship with your family right now?
My relationship with my family is so much more better, because when they're around I can actually spend time with them. Before I couldn't even spend 2 seconds with them, and now we can sit down, we can talk, we can laugh, we can joke, and it's really good.
So when you can't access Facebook, do you have withdrawal symptoms? Like,
no.
Like you're about to crash, to die?
No, I don't at all. There have been times where I've gone days and weeks without it, and I've not felt anyway.
That's great. And first of all, thank you for the courage of talking about your story here, because a lot of people wouldn't want to expose those things about their past. So thank you for doing that, because I believe your story right now is helping people at home. In a few moments, I'm going to have my colleague, Pastor Edward, here with me, and we want to make a prayer for you that perhaps you hate yourself. You hate who you are. You hate who you've become. Glory was saying that initially, in the beginning, when she started at school and so on, she was doing really well. Actually, I forgot to ask her, how are you doing now at school? Are you at school, working?
Now I'm in university.
University.
If I carried on the way I was, I don't think I would ever be in this position.
How are you doing now at university?
I'm doing good. I'm in my first year, so I've just started, and things are really picking up.
Good. So, you know, perhaps you've become someone that you hate. You weren't that person. You weren't someone who, you know, did everything for attention, or you've exiled your family, or you exiled yourself from your family to give in to your addiction. Perhaps you're a man, a woman who is cheating, betraying your partner on the internet, and you hate what you do. You ask yourself that question, what am I doing? You don't recognize who you are anymore. You want to change. If you want to talk to us, we're here to help you. We're not going to judge you or condemn you. And we're not going to say to you, you know, you are the worst human being on the face of the earth. We're going to help you. Because one thing is for sure. If you are that person that you hate, that you don't want to be, there is still time to change. If you want help, get in contact 020-7686-6300. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
Welcome back. I have Pastor Edward here with me.
Hello.
And, you know, it's over the past few years, we pastors, we speak to a lot of couples.
Yes.
Right? And people who are in relationships. And the number of people who come to us with problems in their marriage, in their relationship, because of virtual relationships, or, you know, because they reconnected with someone from their past because of Facebook or friends reunited, whatever, has increased a lot. And if marriage was under threat, under attack before, because it's not easy being married in this world, now it's even worse. It's become more difficult.
Yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to social networks, the impact of technology has been much more for the negative than the positive.
Yeah.
And we could dare even saying that probably on a weekly basis, to say the least, you know, we're going to talk to someone that you know, came to us because they had an argument over something that was like a comment that was left on their page,
or
Facebook
something that
page,
was hidden.
Yes, or something, you know, done.
I mean, and this is so negative, so bad, that some people's relationship only becomes official when it's on Facebook.
Yes.
When they change their relationship status. Unless it's their relationship status on Facebook has changed, they're not in a relationship.
Yes, and plus sometimes it's not only even between the couple per se, but the friends. You know, how come you know you
haven't made it official?
Yeah, you didn't let us know that you guys are traveling. You didn't. It's like, you know, it's supposed to be private. Come on, it's husband and wife. Now it's like it has to be made public, because if it's not, then you're like betraying a friend or something.
Yeah.
So of course there might be positive aspects also, communication and everything, making it easier, but there's mostly, I would say, negative than positive.
And I want to talk about as well the case of people who are like Glory was, because, you know, this can be like a drug. The whole technology, social media thing can be like a drug, because if you have issues that you don't want to deal with, it's very quick and very easy to feel better by going and creating a fake persona online. It's quick, easy, and cheap. But that doesn't solve your problem. You become more unsociable in real life settings. You never solve the problem because you are putting up this mask. And of course, people do that because the real solution is a lot more it's a lot harder to do. You have to go to the root of the problem to deal with the issues you have, and sometimes can be quite difficult to do that, but that's the only solution.
Yes, and as you were talking about it, this thing is so twisted, you know. I have someone in my immediate family, someone close to us, that has a big issue with this, because it's like once you go into this alternative reality kind of thing, and you have to create an alter ego and that kind of stuff, it's like, you know, forget about your virtues, forget about, you know, the things that are positive about yourself. No, that's never good enough. You have to become somebody else. You just, you know, what you have in you, it forces you to look into stuff that is not real. Whereas there's so many positive things inside. Of course, we all have our weaknesses and flaws, but, you know, we shouldn't put our focus on those things. And that's what this kind of apps and this kind of games, they do. You have to put your focus on stuff that is not realistic, whereas the positive aspects that are already there, that you should only develop them, you just don't. You just ignore them and you think they're not good enough.
Actually, I asked Victoria during the break to have a look at something online. Victoria, I mean, here's a good example of technology, because online you just found some information we wanted very quickly. What did you find out?
So I just looked at some statistics about how using the internet could cause problems in relationships, and I found some fascinating statistics. So 1/3 of divorces have online adultery as one of the main causes of the divorce. Only 46% of men believe that online affairs are actually classed as adultery. 57% of people use the internet to flirt, and 38% of people have engaged in explicit online sexual conversations. So it looks like it's very common.
Yeah, and of course, you know, perhaps you say, no, this can't be that common, because people don't really go out there and talk about it and say, look, I did this, right? But it's there. It's a problem. And I think we have to, if you have a problem like this, with how you feel about yourself, who you are, how you see yourself, you have to deal with it. You have to go to the core, the center, and that is to ask God to change how you see yourself. I mean, there are things, for example, if I don't like the way I am, I can do some things to change. But of course, going on the internet and changing a picture of myself takes about 5 minutes. But working hard to lose weight takes a little bit more than 5 minutes, right?
Yes, yeah.
And people don't want that. Or working on your confidence, on who you are. It takes longer than 5 minutes as well. It takes sometimes months. And people don't want that. But that is the real solution. And I want to invite you, I'd like to ask you, Pastor Edward, to make a prayer, because you know, there may be people right now who have this problem, who hate themselves, who hate who they see in on the mirror. They hate that, and they want to change. Perhaps you are on the receiving end of a betrayal, a virtual betrayal. You want to have that wound healed and move on. Prepare a glass with water right now. We are going to offer a very special prayer on your behalf so that God can transform your life.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like a prayer for your general well-being, send your name and prayer request to prayer@findinganswers.tv.
God, right now, we speak to you on behalf of people who are watching us, who maybe don't even have the strength to talk to you. They need someone to pray for them because they've been attacked with so much negativity, so many negative thoughts. As we see people sometimes come to us and say that when they look in the mirror, they don't like their own appearance. They can't see their own virtues. Everyone has positive and negative things, but we have to focus on the positive. So I'm asking you now that you may do something. Let this not just be a prayer, my Lord, just another one that this person receives, but actually something that is life-changing. Let your power now visit this man or woman or mother or father that is struggling because they see that they are losing their own kids to this paraphernalia that we see today. So many gadgets, it's out of control. If they go there at 3 o'clock in the morning, my Lord, sometimes the children's still up. So God, I ask you, give them wisdom. Do something right now. God, I ask you to reach out with your own hands to pull this person out of this hole. And we bless this water. I know that they need much more than my simple words can do. But I ask you, let it not be just words, let it be your power. When you energize this water, when they drink, something has to change inside of them. Something has to give. Something has to happen right now. I call on you because I believe that you are a living God who can help this person right now. So in this belief, in this assurance, we bless this water. We agree with these people. We join. It's like we're joining hands with them and determining that their life is going to change as of right now. And we pray it in your name and we say, thank you, God, and we say, amen. Amen. We can drink the water now.
Yes, it takes longer and it's harder to work at the real changes. But don't be afraid of hard work. Hard work never killed anyone. Actually, hard work is good for us. And if it takes months, if it takes a year to change who you truly are, but that will be a permanent change, then it's well worth it. Remember that. We'll be back here tomorrow again. Until then, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.